TK, I got some talk-aboutables for you.
What are we talking about?
Why do we cling to junk? Eventually, even your trophies become garbage. Take a look at this video with Mike Tyson.
Stuff. This is history here. You're history.
This is garbage. I can say I bled for garbage. At one time, it meant a lot. When you're just a young kid, this is everything to you. But then you realize your priorities change. And you just want your children to be happy and do nice things, and that makes you happy. This is nothing.
Oh, TK. First off, several people sent me this video. Danny sent it to me, then Nicodemus, as usual, sent it to me 3 days later. After the whole internet had seen it, he finally latched on to it. And he sent it to me from some Reddit post. r/conspiracy. No, that's TK's Reddit, the thread that he likes. It's his subreddit. But let's talk about this. The things that become our trophies and we're so proud of. If you're just listening to the audio version of the podcast, by the way, we watched a video of Mike Tyson looking at a table of his old gloves and championship belts and trophies. And he starts flipping them over and saying, no, this is garbage. So our awards that seem so precious to us in the moment, because they commemorate a precious moment, they turn into garbage when we just cling to the trophies, the awards, the successes, the status symbols, because we realize that is not the championship. It's just a representation of something I did in the past.
I'm sure there's some young boxer somewhere training, hoping, dreaming to acquire all that same garbage. I'm curious, do you believe there are some forms of garbage we can only recognize as such when we procure them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Remember the second time we had Jeanette McCurdy on the podcast? She was finishing writing her book, which is called I'm Glad My Mom Died. And she's like, I'm just so afraid it's going to be trash. And I said, well, it is. And she was like, well, yeah, but the finished product is going to be trash. Well, yeah, it will be. What did I mean by that? What I meant is that A, it will be trash to someone. Like someone's not going to like it. And that's not a compelling reason for me to not write a book. If I am writing a book so that everyone will like it, I will never write a book. But also, it will be trash in the sense that to you, eventually, you're going to be like, oh yeah, it's a neat thing I did, but it doesn't really matter that much to me anymore. The things I enjoy right now will be trash tomorrow. The food that I eat produces some sort of trash waste, right? Trash isn't a bad thing. It just means that something that we used has now gone to waste. And that's okay. But when we cling to it, what Mike Tyson was doing there is he was saying, I'm not clinging to this anymore. That's who I was. It's not who I'm going to be. In order for me to be the person I want to be, I have to let go of the past.
Yeah. And, wisdom is a funny thing. It can be the same wisdom can dwell in two different people for entirely two different reasons, for entirely different paths. I imagine that the reason he's able to look at that and say it's trash is because when he was pursuing it, he was chasing something. And those trophies represented the best instantiation of what it was he was really after. And once he had it, he realized, wait, there's a hunger in me that is still not satisfied. Oh, it's the hunger for a deeper kind of legacy, to have children, to cultivate good human beings, to see them prosper and do well in the world. That's really what I'm after. And so we all have these different things that symbolize for us that Z good, that ultimate end. And sometimes in the chasing after those things, if we're lucky enough to acquire them, then we're blessed with the opportunity to see that it's deeper than that. And maybe sometimes the tragedy of not getting what you want is that maybe you never get the chance to see how lacking it is in its ability to truly satisfy you.
Yeah. I had to get everything I thought I wanted to realize that everything I wanted wasn't actually what I wanted. Those things can be a nice byproduct. Nothing wrong with owning a Lexus. It's a fine piece of engineering, right? But the Lexus is not the point of living.
And one other thing, the beautiful thing about wisdom is that it does not belong to the privileged, however you define privilege. You know, there's a proverb that speaks of wisdom as the voice of a woman who says she cries out to people when they're in the marketplace, hear me, listen to me, spend time with me. Every single day, wisdom is calling us while we're chasing those things, whether we get them or not. Wisdom doesn't say, I'll reveal my truth to you. I will give you my insights when you get everything you want and you see that it can't satisfy. Wisdom is calling out to us even as we're chasing those things. And it's saying, just take a break and hear me out. And maybe I'll contextualize your chasing in such a way so that you begin to pursue different things, or you find a deeper kind of rest that isn't found in the chasing after things.
I don't have time for wisdom. I'm headed to the Gucci store.
Shout out to Mike Tyson. I really enjoy listening to him on this podcast. It's really, I grew up in the Mike Tyson golden age of boxing, where I watched him emerge and become that youngest champion. And I just watched his whole journey. And it's just so interesting to see him continuing to deepen his reflections on life and the way he is honest about all of his challenges and his failures and the way he wrestles with things. He's a man that never claims to be or pretends to be perfect. And just it's just interesting watching Mike Tyson after growing up watching him in the ring, seeing what he's doing outside the ring.
In order to grow, he had to let go of those past accomplishments because he realized that once you've reached that peak, that pinnacle, that apex of life, if you keep staring at it, you're not going to get anywhere from there. And also, I think quite often what happens, this has happened with me a lot, is it's also taking time to pause at the top of the mountain there and saying, oh yeah, you can acknowledge this. And the trophy is a byproduct of this, but it is not the point. I didn't do this simply for the trophy. Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.